library would have picked up her right taillight, the side that I'm on right now. That would have picked it up. Okay?
John, where are you? Pick up the phone.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello. How are we all? Happy 4th of July to you all over there on the other side of the water. It's 7:07 a.m. So hopefully you're having your first alcoholic beverage right about now. Good morning, Mr. Bry Bear. How are we? Bry with the wrench. Now, did we all see the interview with Paul O'Keefe? I have watched it a couple of times, and I think the more I watch it, the more angry I get. I'm not happy. Not happy. Not a happy little defense rester. Yeah. Not happy. But I hope you liked the intro. That was from MICRODOTS, who is amazing. Excellent. And that was just the intro, the teaser. We'll play the full thing later on, but he's just get on there because there's his link. The stuff he has on there, not just for Karen, but his abilities in creating these things is just phenomenal. And if you've got good set of headphones or stereo surround sound, the sound is just it's amazing. It's really, really good. So I thought today, after yesterday's stream, and now that Paul has spoken out, we would go through his interview because we haven't really heard from him or the family since basically opening statements more than anything, and they've pretty much kept to themselves with their opinions, except for on the way out of court after a mistrial, apparently. So yes, I was surprised when it popped up that he had done an interview, and then I was even more surprised by what it entailed. So if you haven't seen it, we're going to go through it now. And I watched it initially just on its own without any other opinions. And then I watched it on 2 other channels and got their opinion of it as well. And yeah, it gave me a few different insights, which I just don't get it. I don't get it. Surely you cannot be that. Surely your blinkers could not be that. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Let's you'll be able to see what I'm talking about once we get into it. Okay, so this is the full interview post Karen Reid mistrial.
I mean, we're doing all right, hanging in there. It's been a long, painful 2.5 years. And I mean, with the mistrial that happened the other day, obviously wasn't ideal, but if we have to do it again, we'll do it again. So we're ready to go.
Did you, prior to jury deliberations, ever think a mistrial was even possible?
I kept everything was on the table, I guess, but obviously hoping and confident that we were going to get the conviction that we were looking for.
Now there, right there.
A mistrial, yes.
Hoping and confident. that they were going to get the conviction, hoping and confident. Yes, I watched the Glares as well. He did interrupt a bit. Yes. I sort of watched the Glare as I was, or listened to the Glare as I was cooking dinner. Yeah, I was surprised. Now, he sat through that same trial that we all saw. Sorry, I'm pointing the wrong way. Sat through the same trial we all saw, heard the exact same evidence that was presented, and he was confident that he was going to get the conviction. So nothing that he heard in that entire trial put any doubt in his mind at all whatsoever that Karen may not be responsible. Not even a little bit. I tend to think perhaps maybe anger may be overshadowing any reasonable thoughts. That's my thought on perhaps where it was yummy bright. I made cream of mushroom soup. Oh, delicious. Because it is soup weather over here. It's freaking freezing.
Something we didn't want, obviously, but it's just a bump in the road, and like I said, we'll do it again. We'll do it as many times as we have to.
No, you won't.
You'll be back in court every day for another long trial.
Absolutely.
How are your parents?
They're doing all right. That's more of my concern, is that they have to go through this again. I mean, I'll do it 10 more times if I have to, but I hate the fact that they have to go through this all again. We don't know where it's going to happen, when it's going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
But, I mean, overall, they're doing okay.
Mm-hmm. And they have John's kids now too, or your sister's kids.
Yeah. So they're living in my brother's house in Canton. Raising my niece and nephew, who are 16 and 13. I wanted them to come down here and live with us, but my niece didn't want to leave Canton, didn't want to leave her friends, didn't want to leave her house, and kind of hard to force a kid who's been through as much as they've been through to
absolutely
shake up their world,
for sure,
for I guess a third time.
Yeah, I mean, can you just talk about Kaylee and Patrick? I mean, they, because we didn't put them on camera or anything, of course, during the trial, I had a lot of people ask me, like, what were they like? And they seemed like, for a reason, very, very strong kids.
They're great kids. They're strong kids. They're resilient kids. They have every excuse in the world not to be good kids. My niece Kaylee, super strong. When asked if she wanted to testify, we told them they didn't have to, and she said absolutely she wants to. She wanted her voice heard, her story heard. Wanted people to listen to her. She felt like because she was 14 at the time, that no one wanted to listen to her. So she was strong and insisted on doing it. And my nephew.
Now, in two minds about that one as well. He's saying that she wanted to be heard, but what did she have to offer? She didn't witness the event. She had no pivotal smoking gun evidence or testimony to provide. What was the point? Why was she so desperate to be heard? She could have gotten onto social media. She didn't need to be called to trial. Neither did the nephew. I saw a room in some of the chats that 16-year-old can't stand Paul. I used to live with him. Yeah. Look, he's probably telling his own narrative, and that was part of what I put on the thumbnail, because if you think back right to the very start of the trial and the opening, when he was testifying about Karen, he didn't have anything bad to say about her or their relationship. They were lovey-dovey even. So why this complete, If he had something to say and something pivotal to say, wouldn't it have been best said at said trial when it was most relevant? Or is that just me? Logically, that just makes sense to me. I don't. I do think I have heard that there is a lot of animosity, or there was a lot of animosity between John and his mother prior to him passing, in that the mother wanted custody of the sister's two children, and so yeah, they apparently didn't speak for quite some time. And just watching the body language in the courtroom, even between the mother and the father, I don't even know if they're actually together or not, and between Paul and his mother, and even between Paul and his wife, the only time I saw any affection between Paul and his wife was when Judge Canoni announced the mistrial, and she basically put her arm and patted him on the back. That's the only time I saw any emotion between the two of them. Like, no sitting there, no holding hand, no, arm around each other, no hand on the leg, nothing, no support stuff. Like, that to me is just a normal response. If you're going to sit beside someone who's going through this ordeal of a trial, the least you can do, especially if it's your significant other, is not only emotionally support them, but be there physically as well, I don't know, maybe that's just me. Probably too touchy-feely.
He wanted to
For Canton.
support her. So he said, if she does it, I'll do it. So I'm proud of them both for doing what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, they were really strong when they got on the stand. It was amazing.
This interviewer is very, very awkward.
Do you feel comfortable telling me, just from all that you've learned over the last 2.5 years, like what you think happened that night?
Oh, we know what happened.
Oh, really? You know what happened?
We know that Johnny and Karen were arguing. It was kind of towards the end of their relationship. Things weren't well.
And
they were drinking and arguing and fighting, and in an intoxicated state of rage and jealousy, she just decided that she was going to do something about it. And
really?
Put the car in reverse and rammed down and left them there.
Evidence says otherwise, Mr. O'Keefe. Did you not watch everything? Evidence says otherwise. Two experts, independent experts, unbiased, paid by another government entity, completely separate from the defence or the Commonwealth, showed you how that was not a possibility, and yet you still sat there. I know what happened. And what was she jealous of? What was she jealous of? You said yourself in your testimony that they appeared quite happy that night. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, Paul. Open your eyes. Open your eyes.
As soon as she left the house that day when she came over.
Just makes me
We didn't
sad.
talk to any investigators, state police, nobody. My mother had said, do you think she has something to do with this? And I said, we're not going to think like that. Went outside to the driveway to look at her car, and her car was gone. It was a blizzard. I knew what the driving conditions were like coming from the hospital to Canton. And I knew that they were going back to Dighton, which is a much further drive. Mm-hmm. So we put it together pretty quickly.
So that's what gets me, right? So because she came back to hey, Liz, morning, sweetie. Because she came back to John's house after she'd been released from the hospital, and she didn't really have a great deal to say to everybody. Well, hello, she's just been through a traumatic experience. She's lost her boyfriend. B, she's in her boyfriend's house with his family, who she probably feels like an outsider already. And because she left in half an hour in a blizzard, she's now guilty in their minds of reversing over him at 24 miles per hour and causing said head injury. Is it just me? Really? It would be different if it was truly a battle of experts, but there's no comparison. Oh, absolutely. No. Exactly. I wasn't even thinking of Trooper Paul, but, I just don't understand how he can be so blind. He's not, he comes across as an intelligent person. He could not be that gullible, surely. Surely. I think Kerry Roberts was honest in her testimony. I think she may have been manipulated and swayed by Jen McCabe. I think Jen McCabe is a very dominant, as they say, the mean girl of the group, and has probably always aspired to be part of said group and never made the grade, basically. So I think for her, the participation, when Jen asks her to jump, she'll say how high. But as far as the rest of them, they're all lying through the teeth. All of them.
Next, you took words out of my mouth, was like, when did you realize? It was literally that morning.
Yeah, so I would say early afternoon when they came back to the house. She wanted to come over and see the kids. Didn't really interact with them at all. Was there for probably a total of 30 minutes. Didn't say much or anything. And half of her time was upstairs gathering her things.
Well, isn't that
and my wife
what you would do?
On the phone on their way back to Dighton, and she told my wife that just have to remember the bad times, and I don't think I'm ever going to talk to you guys again.
Now, I think that was probably taken out of context a little bit there. I think maybe she said, try not to remember only the bad times. And also, she was told early on by her counsel that she wasn't to contact the O'Keeffes. She wasn't to have communications with them, as far as she was recommended that by her defense team. So it wasn't something that she set out to specifically do. And again, they weren't married. She's the outsider. I don't know what relationship she had with John's parents, because if John already had an estranged relationship with his mother, then obviously Karen wouldn't have had a particularly good relationship or close bond with her, and she probably felt out of place. So it's not an unusual comment to make, as far as I'm aware or concerned. But yes, she was advised early on, very early on, by her defense team not to be in communications with the O'Keeffes.
Phone call,
apparently.
what made you sure of what had happened?
Absolutely, yeah. We already, like I said, we put the pieces together on our own, and that just really solidified it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would somebody say that? Why would someone say, if you didn't do anything, why would you say you're never going to talk to us again? Or why do you have to remember the bad times? Almost like justifying what she did.
Right. How would you have expected her to act in that situation if she hadn't done something?
More sad, empathetic, sympathetic. But like I said, when she was at the house, she barely said a word.
Hmm.
You know, she wanted to be there for the kids. My nephew came
Yeah.
home. My niece was already home by the time she got there, and her family arrived. And I sat down, my nephew in the other room, she sat right next to him. I explained to him that JJ's, something happened and he's no longer with us. She didn't say a word. And right after that, she went upstairs and started gathering her belongings. And the next thing you know, they were gone.
What did you want her to say, Paul?
Yeah, it's hard.
Is there any right words that you can say to this poor child? You know, John was already thrown into this situation. Well, not thrown into. He chose, and more kudos to him. Absolutely, he chose to take on these children as his own. So he's already in a difficult situation, an unusual situation comparatively to what he was in. And likewise, so as Karen, she chose to take them on too. So, of course, you're going to not only have difficulties within a relationship, but you're going to have difficulties within that family unit as well, because they'll both have different parenting ideas, different expectations, all sorts of things. And the children as well will have different expectations of both parties as well. He's gone from an uncle who is there to be, the cool guy and the fun guy to the disciplinarian, so to speak. And where does Karen fit in all that? So I know they had arguments and issues with regards to, the food that she was providing them. And I know that was an issue when I had stepchildren as well. I would cook a nice healthy meal and Miss Princess would say, I don't want that. And I would absolutely lose my shit. Because the father would say, oh, well, you can have whatever you want then. And I've just spent 2 hours creating a meal. But anyway, I digress. Let's go.
Strange behavior.
Very strange.
When did the whole narrative of her version of events become known to you?
Well, if you remember her first arraignment in Stoughton District Court,
Yeah.
Her attorney, David Unetti, had said this is a tragic accident. His client had no criminal intent.
Mm-hmm.
And then, fast forward to, I guess, when Alan Jackson came on board. And, they teamed up.
Yeah, this is what's pissed me off.
Their story.
So he's saying that as soon as Alan Jackson came on board, this whole narrative about it being conspiracy comes to life, and they team up with Turtle Boy, and that's the end of it. Everyone's on the conspiracy theory. Really? Really? No, Paul. You should be more worried about what the Canton police didn't do with respect to your brother than what Turtle Boy discovered. He's the only one that actually went out to try and find the truth. He had nothing to gain from it. Who's Karen Reid to him? Nobody. Well, if it were my brother, I would be doing what Turtle Boy's doing. Wouldn't you want to find the truth? Come hell or high water? I know I would. Good morning, Tenacity for the Truth. Welcome. Is it true that Karen started a GoFundMe that raised it? Yes, I believe it is. And if you go on to the Young Jerks YouTube site, in his description box, he has the link to that GoFundMe page. Yes. It is correct. I'm not sure as to the amount, but what I heard was over the 300K, yes.
That they concocted and put together and flooded out there.
they concocted and
people are
put
only hearing
together.
one side of the story and coming to conclusions before actual evidence in the trial had actually begun.
Okay, he said that we have made our conclusions before we've heard the evidence in the trial. Now, have you all heard the evidence in the trial? Because I have. And he's still convinced. He's still convinced she's guilty. Not one little doubt. Excuse me. Not one little reasonable doubt. Not even an unreasonable doubt. I'm sorry, you cannot blame Turtle Boy or Alan Jackson for any of this. Just because Alan can speak more articulately than la 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 fucking Lali can, and maybe charges 10 times more than la la Lali doesn't make her. You can't buy innocence. Sorry.
So a lot of the public was misinformed,
Bullshit.
because they were only getting one side of the story. And
Bullshit.
we didn't come out and tell our side of the story, or what we thought or knew happened.
Why didn't you?
Kept a low
Why didn't you
profile
say at
and
trial?
have been silent through this whole ordeal. But now it's time. Now it's time for
No.
people to understand the truth.
Now it's too late. Sorry.
And the jurors,
Too late.
we thank them. They did a great job. They put in a lot of hours, paid a lot of attention, worked hard. Unfortunately, they weren't able to come to
Paid more attention than you did, I think.
consensus, as far as a verdict goes. But
Not
we
sitting
have
in the
another
center of
chance
the-
at it, and hopefully the jury that we get for the second time around will we'll see things more clearly.
So, just so I'm clear, you think this all started when Alan Jackson showed up, and Karen, throughout the course of this trial, you think she knows what she did?
She knows exactly what she did, and she's trying to buy and lie her way out of this. Refusing to take accountability for her actions. Not only that, but pointing the finger and blaming innocent people.
Yeah, talk to me about that. I mean, because the thing is, it the story on the defensive side is not just, oh, she didn't do it. It's she didn't do it, and all these other people did.
Yeah, I mean, she's pointing the finger at everybody. Everyone's lying except for her, according to her.
So explain it to us then, Paul.
7 witnesses.
Yeah. Explain it to us. Explain it. Why? Why? Oh, that's the wrong one. Why so much evidence tampering? Why the need to have flipped Sallyport fucking videos? Why the need to have 2 minutes missing of video evidence from the Canton Library? Why? Why the need for any of that shit? Why the need to put Proctor and Bukaki and Tully and probably 50 other witnesses on the stand to tell you that it was snowing and how many drinks they had? Where's the evidence that shows that that vehicle hit John's head and caused those injuries? Yes. Why destroy phones? Why rehome a dog? Why sell your house? Why change the floor in your... Karen didn't do any of that. None of it. She just stood up for herself, and that's what they didn't plan on. They did not plan on her fighting back. I honestly think Paul believes in what he's saying, and what he's telling is the truth. I think that he honestly, in his own mind, thinks that what he's saying is true, because he's just been so brainwashed by these people for 2 years.
Testify.
68.
Sad.
68, I'm sorry.
That's
Testify.
all right.
Very sad. Very sad.
And according to them, they're all lying and they're not credible, and
Well, that was proved multiple times.
there's first responders that were just doing their job that day. Jen McCabe, Kerry Roberts, all they did was pick up the phone and help, because she was asking for help.
Yep.
And according to
Yeah,
them,
well,
the only
they
one telling the
helped.
truth is her.
So I don't even know what to call them. We have a variety of names. The pink people. They turned on all those people first. Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe. But then how have they treated you guys over the course of the last year and a half?
Well, if you just go back to any video of us walking into court during pretrial hearings, yelling, screaming, calling us names, to this day, I don't know what I did wrong. I get messages all the time, whether through Facebook or other ways of communication.
It's because you're sleeping with the
telling
enemy,
me that
Paul.
I'm a moron, I'm stupid, and he doped my eyes and all this stuff. But I ignore those.
Obviously.
I don't really care what people say to me because this isn't about me. This is about my brother.
It
I
is.
like to think
Yes, it is.
I know a little bit more of what's
That
going on
right
in the
there
case
is
than,
the
people
most
that are just
important thing that you've
reading
said.
stuff on
Morning,
the
Gabby.
internet. And there's been things said about me, accusations about me, all types of things that just aren't true. But again, I just brush it off because this isn't about me.
Yes.
So if these people buy into this big conspiracy, right, that Brian Albert's a murderer or whoever, okay, if they buy into that,
Now
why are they turning on you?
That goes back then, Bri, to my statement yesterday about how, was it yesterday or the day before, with the jury, how if they came to a not guilty verdict, that weight upon them within the community that they have to reside in for the rest of their life with the McAlberts. And I believe that, yes, Brian Albert is probably the head of it, but the whole lot of them, the McCabe's, the whole lot, in my opinion, appear to be a fairly dominant group within that community. And I guarantee you everybody in Canton knows them, especially now. And it's like almost peer group pressure. Who would want to go against that? Who, you know, if they've got power in high places, especially in the law enforcement side of things, you know, that can make their life really difficult in many, many ways, many ways. And they've proven that they are capable of doing that on a huge scale, you know, on a murder scale. Can you imagine on a, you know, a daily infringement scale? Planning permits, parking fines, speeding tickets, you name it.
You guys, has that ever made sense to you?
Because we don't believe in a crazy conspiracy theory that holds no merit, no evidence.
No evidence.
We know
How
these
can you
people.
say no
Jen
evidence?
McCabe has been a family friend of ours. She was friends with my sister. We've known her for over 10 years. She was very helpful with, you know, picking Kaylee up to and fro when he took over raising the kids. Kerry Roberts we've known for a very, very long time, right? And at the time, she didn't really know Jen McCabe or any of the McCabes or Alberts. And her testimony corroborated everything that Jen said. And the defense, I think, was scared of her and didn't even want to ask her any questions. They just wanted her off the stand. And I guess the negative or hate that's directed towards me, mostly me and my mother, is because we support these people who are being falsely accused of something they didn't do, right? And their lives have been turned upside down and partially ruined. You know, Colin Albert, who was a 17-year-old kid at the time, his life has been turned upside down and ruined. I've gotten to know.
Can you imagine the influence that this family has within that community? That's exactly why the jury could not come back with a not guilty vote. There's no way. The hung jury was the only way. The only way that they could get out of it unscathed. And that's why we won't ever find out what the split was. I don't think any of the actual jurors that deliberated will come out publicly. I think they'll want to keep the lowest profile possible. But bet you mark my words, Brian Albert knows every single one of their names, addresses, place of employment. He knows everything about them. Guaranteed You can take that to the bank. We shouldn't have been allowed to sit right in front of Karen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he goes into that a little bit, actually, Gabby. He goes into that and he addresses, she asks him about what he says to her as he's leaving the courtroom. Have a listen.
No, the Alberts through all this, and they're all good people.
Sure.
So just
How much do they
because we
pay you to
don't
say
believe in a
that?
crazy conspiracy theory, and we believe that Karen Reed is guilty of killing my brother. They take it on us.
Doesn't it feel sometimes like your brother's forgotten in all of this?
Absolutely, all the time.
And who do you blame for that?
It's turned into the Karen Reed show. She.
And why? Why has it turned into the Karen Reed show? Why has it turned into the Karen Reed show? You want me to boost the sound? Ooh. Is my mic too loud? I did adjust the mic, sorry. It's turned into the Karen Reed show because Canton Police didn't do their freaking jobs. She shouldn't be on trial in the first place. If they'd done their jobs and done a proper investigation, there would be no Karen Reed show. There would be justice for John. And I think that is what's going to come out now. I think the only way that we are going to see any justice for John is through the FBI investigation. It's too soft. Yeah, he's got a very, very soft voice, unfortunately, and I've got it up as loud as I can, but I'll try not to speak over it.
Through a crowd that cheers her on. She goes out in public, takes pictures, signs autographs. She's just living her life like nothing's ever happened. And meanwhile, my brother's been gone.
Good morning, Helena. Welcome.
And I just want people to go back to who the victim is in this. It's not her. It's my brother.
What do you want people to know about John? You call him Johnny. Kids call him JJ.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my older brother. So, I mean, generous, loyal, sometimes a pain in the ass to me. I'm sorry, pain in the butt to me.
You can say pain in the ass.
Just because he was my older brother, but he just was there if you needed him, took care of the people that he loved, good-hearted guy who didn't deserve any of this.
Is that better?
He rearranged and uprooted his life, went from a single the bachelor lifestyle living in Boston to moving into instant dad role.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that obviously everyone
yes
admires.
I was watching the one eye shot, the one eye, I can't do it, one eye too much Botox. One eye eyebrow lift and the lip tuck and the lip lift, lick. Yes. No, he's not convinced. Look at his face. He's not convinced. He's talking himself into it still.
I'm the most for, and I do too. It wasn't easy for him at the beginning, but he learned to figure it out.
Oh,
then
on that, Gabby, guess what? We're halfway. It's our halfway to monetization stream. We've reached the halfway mark. Yay! Go us.
We all helped as much as we could without getting in the way. Just an overall good guy.
And I assume he chose to do that, right? I mean, your sister's situation is unimaginable.
Yeah, so then after my brother-in-law passed away, we had to figure out, all right, what do we do? And at the time, my wife and I were like, all right.
Take your time, sweetheart.
Take them in. At the time, we had a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. So we were trying to figure out how are we gonna do this? Our house was small. We didn't really want to live in the house that they both passed away in, but we were trying to figure it out the best way possible. And then Johnny just stepped up one day and just said, I got it.
Wow.
And then pretty much moved in the next day and took it from there for 8 years.
So there's a reason that's why so many people describe that that's what they admired about him.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
stepped up.
a selfless act, changing your life, you know, to take care of his family and people he loved.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's him in a nutshell.
I know I asked you how your mom's doing already or how your parents are doing, but I just can't imagine for her losing 2 kids.
Yeah.
Is she like a different person now?
She's a strong woman. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unimaginable, you know, just to lose them in the ways that she did. You know, my sister suffering for 5.5 months with brain cancer.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
But at least had the opportunity to say goodbye. And then, you know, with my brother just being taken from us so quickly and senselessly, I know somehow she keeps it all together.
So he must be the
My
last
father,
sibling then.
quiet, kind of keeps to himself.
Mhm.
But I mean, overall, what they've gone through it's unfair.
Yeah.
It's unimaginable. But they're strong and they keep moving forward, and just same thing. They do what they have to do to take
We've got.
care of the family.
I have to ask you.
I wonder where the noise is
ushered out
coming
of the courtroom
from.
pretty quickly on Monday. You had a little exchange with Karen. Do you mind, what happened there?
It was in the background of the video.
Throughout the trial, she likes to turn and look at me and smirk. She's never once made eye contact with my wife, Erin. So when the mistrial was announced, she turned and looked right at Erin and gave her a smirk, and then went over and hugging and celebrating to some extent. I just said, you know, you're not done yet.
Did she say something back?
No, but I mean, it was an emotional day, emotional moment, being in that courtroom, sitting so closely, and that's something that she wanted.
Yeah, can you talk about that? I mean, the
I
courtroom
don't get this
switch,
bit.
we know all the legal reasons why it happened, but you
I
guys
don't
were
get
like
this bit at all.
arm's length from her for the entire trial.
He's saying that
Yep.
Karen requested that he sit
I
there.
guess after a while, you just got used to it, but yeah, showing up every day, sitting that close to the person that
How can she
took
request
my
that?
brother away from us, it was not easy. It took a lot to not say anything, but again, it wasn't about me. We were there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to get justice for Johnny.
What did Adam and Laura say to you guys afterwards? Like, what, looking ahead?
What, if anything, did Adam say to you afterwards?
In the outcome, but Adam said, he goes, "We're just going to do it again." He goes, "I'll start tomorrow."
No, you won't.
You know, so they're confident. They have the truth on their side. You know, unfortunately, if you pay high-powered attorneys enough and put enough lies out there, you know, you start influencing people to the point where there's just no turning back. I think people just don't want to admit that they were wrong or duped.
No, I think you don't want to admit that you've been wrong and been duped.
They're confident, and we're going to go.
And I wasn't laughing at his testimony. Sorry, I was laughing at Gabby's chat. Gabby, if you knew the amount of seconds that actually took me to do, thank you anyway. It was an accident that I worked out how to do it, and I thought I'll share.
Go at it again.
He being Adam has been like, he's kept to himself a lot, similar to you guys over the course of this.
Yep.
Do you think that's been hard?
I'm sure it's been extremely hard on him. You know, he's not the type that looks at social media or pays attention to any of that stuff. He just keeps his head down and does his job.
He probably hasn't got any friends.
The flashy attorney that wants to be on camera all the time and have press conferences on the stairs like some people. He's just a hardworking, you know, I guess nose to the grindstone.
He's just a bitter, angry man.
Just does his job. You know, it's a very difficult job, but he's never once really complained about it, you know, to us anyway.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard on him. I know it's hard on Laura. I know it's been hard on everyone who's been involved in this, but everyone's determined that we're just going to do it again.
Has
Good luck
your
with that.
circle of like the people who support you guys, has it grown? Has it gotten smaller over the course of all the noise outside of this?
So for me personally, I've kept my circle smaller.
Mhm.
People that you were friends with or haven't seen in a while, you just don't know where their mind's at.
Yeah.
What they believe. So we've been forced to become very kind of like defensive, not as outgoing as we normally would be.
Mhm.
But I think recently
Why do you think that might be,
I think we're
Paul?
gaining some more support. I think people have been afraid, to show up to court and I guess counter protest to the people that are outside. I think people have been in fear, but I think that's starting to turn. I think people want justice. They don't
Yeah,
want
they do.
this
And
influence
for the right reasons.
of social media and public perception based off of lies to to win or to take control of this.
Do you want people to show up with?
We'll take all the
Support?
support we can get.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, we're not going to turn anybody away. I mean, every time we go to court, we're kind of
Can't say
portrayed as
I
the bad
have, Gabby,
guys,
no.
and at the end of the day, it's we lost a loved one, but somehow we're still, I guess, vilified for just not believing in a crazy conspiracy.
Yeah.
How can he keep saying it's a crazy conspiracy? I don't understand. How can this man say that out loud after what he just watched, what he just experienced in court? It blows my mind. It just blows my
On
mind.
that note, was it hard for you at all? I mean, there were certainly some moments in the case where there were weak spots exposed, right? Like I think about the
That's
solar
politically
effects
correct.
and Trooper Proctor, who now is facing job consequences as a result of this.
At the very
What
least.
was it like for you to listen to those moments that weren't necessarily benefiting the
Oh.
state's case?
Well, as far as at the very early stages,
Crazy.
I mean, a crime scene during a blizzard,
Yeah,
can't be an easy
Don't make
thing to
excuses.
navigate, and yet they found evidence. They found a sneaker. They found pieces of taillight.
And does that,
obviously you're not going to see
to
everything.
all those things, put John's head against Karen's tail light? At the end of the day, is what you've got to answer. Both of those medical examiners said that the injuries were inconsistent with a vehicle pedestrian collision. Both the defense and the Commonwealth. Both of them.
Everything under a couple feet of snow. So I think they improvised.
Doesn't matter how many pieces of evidence you find at the scene.
Every investigation is going to be kind of scrutinized to some degree. But
especially the crap ones.
They did what they had to do with what they had.
Bullshit.
The weather conditions.
Bullshit.
They just, like I said, had to improvise and do the best they could. As far as Michael Proctor's comments, I mean, he even said too they were unprofessional, which we agree with. But this guy, his life's been ruined. Getting his personal cell phone, which was something that should never have happened. Josh Levy should never have been intervened in this. An FBI investigation was launched.
Okay, I'll give him that one. I'll give him that. Yes, maybe personal cell phones didn't need to be brought into it, because I don't think that none of those texts that Proctor said to anybody, yes, they were inappropriate and yes, they were disgusting, but none of them were evidentiary in any value, in any way, shape, or form. They were of no evidentiary value whatsoever. So I'll give him that one.
due to cherry-picked evidence that was, or pieces of discovery that was only provided by the defense. Like this is
It's
is
pretty
unheard of.
unprecedented.
To not even
Rubbish.
speak to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, not speak to the Mass Police to see what they have for discovery and evidence.
They've got to
just to
wait for the
intervene
district
themselves in
attorney to
that
turn
way,
over discovery.
which casted, a shadow of doubt on the investigation.
Does he actually know how the judicial process works? No.
So I think he has a
Give me
lot of
strength.
questions that need to be answered.
Yeah. Do you get updates on that?
I do not. I do plan on trying to sit down with him at some point.
Yeah.
Whether I got a knock
You
on the
think?
door, I sent him an email, but
Wouldn't that be a
still don't get
priority?
a response. But if I have to go knock on the door and ask for
Would
a
be if
sit
it was
down,
my
that's what I'll do.
brother.
Is there anything I haven't asked you about that you want to make sure people know?
I just
How
in
can
all
you be
this,
so
I just
blind?
want people to remember the actual victim. I think I mentioned it before that it's not the Karen Reed show.
Yeah.
This is about
Hmm.
a good man whose life was taken
Mm-hmm.
way too soon.
Yep.
And for selfish reasons, and has created a void in our life that was already an enormous void, but just made it even that much bigger. And
Now I agree with that as well. Completely agree with that as well. But he's focusing his attention at the wrong person. That's all it is. That's all it is. And it's such a shame.
I just want people to remember him and want him to get the justice he deserves
Mm.
and that we deserve.
That's all we want.
And that's Karen Reed going to prison.
That's all we want.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's almost been made out like we're out to get, people on YouTube or social media or whatever platform. It's made out that we're out to crucify him and his family, or to propagate some conspiracy theory, because we're all so blind and all so stupid that we can be convinced by one blogger. Give me some credit, please. You get onto any social media and you have a look at the percentages of people on both sides anywhere, and you will not find the majority vote that Karen Reed is guilty. You will not anywhere. It is very, very sad. Very, very sad. So yes. I don't understand. Sorry, tenacity. Yes, no. Give me some credit. We all saw the same trial. We all saw the same witnesses. We all saw the same evidence, and it just makes me very, very sad that unfortunately he cannot see, what is it? It's a saying, like blinded by the truth or something. I can't remember the saying, but anyway. So what I thought we might do next is I gave you a bit of a sneak preview of MICRODOTS' amazing video, and what he's done, what he's created is just phenomenal. So I thought we would play that. It's about 20 minutes, but it goes through. You're blinded by the light. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Now what? No, well, yeah, I pay you the big bucks, Gabby. Yeah, I thought we'd play this because it goes through from the beginning almost of the whole story, and it shows from factual evidence what goes on. So If you've got surround sound or some really, really good earbuds, put them in, because the sound that goes with this is just phenomenal. Give me 1 second. I'll just make sure we've got it in high def. There we go. Share screen. Oh, that one. Whoa. I'll make myself smaller. There we go.
She would have gone right by here, Hip Street. And that camera at the library would have picked up her right taillight, the side that I'm on right now. That would have picked it up. Okay? Right up to Meadows Avenue. Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
John, where are you? Pick up the phone.
We know that my client arrived back at John O'Keefe's residence at 1 Meadows Ave in Canton at 12:41 a.m. because the Commonwealth produced a voicemail that she left for John, where you can hear the garage door closing, the car door closing, the house door closing while she walked in her high heels on the garage floor. 1 Meadows is about a mile from the Canton Library. We know the video equipment was working because they have that footage from 12:16 a.m. But in the video that the prosecution turned over to us, there is a gap in that video from 12:37 a.m. to 12:39 a.m., which would have been the precise time my client would have been driving back past the library. We know that that footage would show that my client's taillight was still intact at that point because she never struck John O'Keefe with her vehicle. Yet the prosecution has produced a video from the library with that crucial time period missing. This evidence is strictly in their possession. We've been told that the Canton police provided the evidence to them via a share file. The Canton Library provided this evidence to them via a share file link with the guest ID and the guest pass.
You can see Turtle Boy is right there. I only just noticed that. Can you see my cursor? That's Aidan Kearney right there.
We need that link, that user ID, and that password. We cannot rely on Trooper Michael Proctor, conflicted Michael Proctor, to sanitize exculpatory evidence before sending it to us. We need the original footage. If the Commonwealth answers that that original footage no longer exists, then we'll need an evidentiary hearing to put the relevant parties.
How good is that animation?
The bottom line here, Your Honor, is that we've spent 15 months trying to uncover the truth.
The video was provided by the IT director for the town of Canton.
My name is Louis Jutras. I am the information systems manager for the town of Canton.
There was a sheriff.
Now, I don't know if you remember, but there was some footage of him being interviewed that the library IT guy who testified that he provided one digital format of that video from that time frame that was requested by the defense. So he provided one digital copy.
File that was shared with the troopers. The troopers, upon receiving that, it was Trooper Dunn who received that video, not Trooper Proctor.
a Worcester man has filed a lawsuit against 2 Massachusetts state police troopers, accusing the troopers of slamming him to the ground and arresting him with no just reason, naming Massachusetts state police trooper Matthew Dunn. Dunn, according to the lawsuit, slammed him to the pavement in the travel lane of a busy highway, kneeled him in the back and punched him in the head while cuffing his wrist so tightly as to draw blood and wrenched him up from the ground, arresting him without cause. And then, with the help of another trooper who was on the scene, tried to hide what he had done. Before Dunn made the arrest, the victim heard him on the phone with the police supervisor saying,
No, Gabby, this is a YouTube creator called MICRODOTS who works in collaboration with Turtle Boy. So MICRODOTS does he makes these amazing editorial like films. He does all of it, but yeah, he's used the factual evidence from Turtle Boy. Get onto his site. I put the link up in chat, and it's also in the description box as well. He is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Sergeant, I got this kid roughed up in front of over 500 people, apparently referring to drivers on the highway. Then Dunn asked for advice on what charges for which the victim
I actually think he's on TikTok and X as well, I think.
could be arrested. He was arrested on 2 minor charges, which were tossed out in district court the next day.
Now, as far as the video was provided to Trooper Matthew Dunn of the CPAC unit with the District Attorney's Office, that was then shared with Ms. Crawford. It was a person in our office who specifically deals with forensic and surveillance video and type evidence. It was then archived on our system. Recently, we reached out and spoke to the IT director with the town of Canton again. That share link I tried to send to council, email essentially wouldn't go through. We tried to open it, essentially it won't open.
Funny that.
So the link expired within 30 days within 60 days, if not 30 days of it being shared with our office, but the exact information that was provided by the town of Canton was archived by Ms. Crawford, was then provided to council at her arraignment in Superior Court, as well as I was able to download it onto a Citrix file, which I then shared with council earlier this week. So
with 2 minutes
what
missing.
we have as a video, what exists as a video, what we were given as a video for those relevant time frames was placed onto the archive within our system, was then placed onto a disk, and what's on the disk, what's been provided to council, is what we received.
Okay. That's it. Okay. Okay, I believe you. No worries. Awesome. Awesome.
Judge Beverly Cunone has no follow-up questions. Upon learning that footage from a functioning camera pointed directly at Karen's vehicle as it drove by has gone inexplicably missing. Somewhere along this chain of custody, the clip was removed. Prosecutor Lally seems to be placing the blame on the IT director.
What's on the disk, what's been provided to council, is what we received.
But I'm unconvinced. It's also difficult to believe a civilian non-cop video technician would be invited to destroy evidence by the state police officers she works with.
Thanks, Gabby.
That leaves Trooper Dunn, a co-worker of Troopers Proctor and Tully, assigned to Michael Morrissey's office, with at least one documented example of his willingness to cover up police misconduct on his record.
Explain that, Paul.
You are invited to draw your own conclusions. This is 34 Fairview Road, the home of the Albert family, where Karen had dropped John off on that fateful night. This This is One Meadows Avenue, John O'Keefe's residence and Karen's destination, where she would spend the night awaiting John's arrival back home after the party. It's an approximately 6-minute, 2.3-mile drive from point A to point B. The Canton Public Library is located here in Canton Center, at the intersection of Sherman and Washington Street. When performing a Google Maps search for directions from 34 Fairview Road to One Meadows Avenue, 3 routes appear as options. The first suggested route is always to head south on Fairview, down to Chapman and then to Sherman, passing directly by the library. At 2.3 miles in 6 minutes, it's the shortest of the 3 options. This is the actual route Karen took back to John's home, shortly after 12:30 a.m. The second suggested route also heads south on Fairview, but this time turns east on Chapman over to Pleasant Street. This route also has a drive time of 6 minutes, but does not pass by the library. And lastly, the third route would suggest that Karen perform a 3-point turn and drive north on Fairview, back the way her and John took to get there, to Cedar Crest, ultimately picking up Pleasant Street back to Meadows Avenue. However, this option can be eliminated, since we know that the Mass State Police canvassed homes on Cedar Crest for security footage showing Karen driving past and found none. The fact that investigators refused to then seek video from anywhere along Karen's actual driving route is one of the earliest indications we have that the fix was in from the start. They were aware that even a single frame showing Karen's Lexus 570LX passing with taillight intact could expose their unthinkable crimes against Officer John O'Keefe and girlfriend Karen Reed. It would also lock them into a rigid timeline, making it harder to blame Karen. There are dozens of homes and businesses with security cameras facing the street along this route. However, the Mass State Police entered into evidence exactly 0. Although we do know of at least one person who was going door to door, investigating the Massachusetts.
So, what? So one video on that entire route all the way home from from 34 Fairview to One Meadows Avenue, one video was submitted in the trial, and that was the Canton Library video that was already doctored. One. Not one ring camera from anywhere along that route was ever put into evidence, ever.
Massachusetts State Police investigation.
Hi, Christine. Welcome. So this is Turtle Boy.
So I was just wondering, did the state police ever come by here and ask for ring camera footage from the morning of January 29th, 2022?
No, they haven't.
They haven't. Okay. That's literally all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day.
You too. That's interesting. Well, so remember, the state police really want to get to the bottom of it. They want to find ring camera footage. This would have been the exact road. A man of God, and he wouldn't sin. Okay. There's a camera. This is where Karen Reed came from. That direction. She went this way. That's another camera right there. So, and again, house right across the street would have had an absolutely flawless view for cars
Look at
driving
that.
by. So that's 33 Fairview. Okay. All right. Let's park right here.
Perhaps the first and closest doorbell security camera is located diagonally across the street from the Albert residence.
Got a ring right there. And again, look at that angle right there. How could it not pick it
Yeah,
up?
now have a listen to this.
This is where John O'Keefe's body.
So this is directly opposite, diagonally opposite 34 Fairview. And have a listen to this.
Was found. And this is where Karen Reed's vehicle was parked. The exact location witness Ryan Nagel testified that he saw her sitting alone in her SUV with the interior light on and her hands at 10 and 2, with no visible damage to her taillight.
I mean, look at that right there. That wouldn't pick it up. Look at that. I mean, there's a car in the driveway, right? I didn't see.
It's awesome, isn't it? Absolutely
There was
awesome.
indeed a car in the driveway. However, no one answered the door. And although the camera was perfectly oriented to capture everything that occurred the night John was killed, no video footage was ever entered into evidence. The owner of this residence is Canton Deputy Police Chief Tom Kelleher, a close friend and neighbor of the Albert family and a fellow police officer. We strongly suspect that he purposefully withheld the footage in order to perpetuate the cover-up. But as of now, we have no direct evidence of it. Nevertheless, we contend that there is at least circumstantial evidence supporting the notion that no police or public officials were meant to draw attention. Decade, both filled with tributes to their fellow officers who have fallen while on duty, serving honorably and justly. For police officers and firefighters from all over the country. Near.
And I will always be able to look the O'Keefe family members in their eyes because there is absolutely no evidence of a cover-up in the tragic death of John O'Keefe.
Bullshit.
This is the Canton Library. At approximately 12:38 a.m., Karen enters the intersection. The camera is located on the front left side of the library. Giving it a perfectly oriented view of the rear right side taillight on Karen's Lexus SUV, minutes after it was supposedly shattered into pieces after striking John. This is an exact recreation of the video clip from approximately 12:38 a.m. that would show Karen passing through the intersection with a perfectly intact rear right taillight, and then deleted by the massed state police.
Dr. 22 CR 66 quarter city building about $50,000 cash to chase and staff here by the human rights area for area conditions of this case in the ECU.
They would certainly have.
Sergeant Mechanic and Trooper Proctor advised of several abrasions to the right forearm, 2 swollen black eyes, a small cut above the right eye, a cut to the left side of his nose, approximately 2-inch laceration to the back of his head, multiple skull fractures that resulted in bleeding.
Where are the Boston police? One of their own was murdered, thrown out like trash, and they're nowhere to be found. I had 3 state troopers next to me. I don't know what side they're on, and that scares me. What side of history are you going to be on?
Body cameras. We are not currently wearing them. What's happening to our community? The slow erosion of the criminal justice system.
You want to step outside? You want to step outside? Oh my God!
All right, I'm just going to pause that there. Have a look at this shot. Okay, this shot is the rear of 34 Fairview. So at the top of the screen up here, you have the road, okay, and the driveway with the car. And then you have this area here where the flagpole is where John's body was located, just in here, okay? So if you come around the side of the house to this fence here, which is what they were talking about, the Ford, what car was it they said was out the front here when Lucky Loughran was ploughing. There was a Ford parked out here. And this right here is the bulkhead to the kitchen, to the basement. Okay, this is the kitchen windows right here, the back door, and this is the bulkhead downstairs to the basement. So they would only have to go around and out here to dispose of John's body and place it back out here. So that gives you a good view of where the bulkhead was in relation to. So they would not have been seen until they got to that fence line here, and then they strategically parked the Ford here for the time it took them to get from that fence to that flagpole.
Someone in the house
that was loud.
You cannot keep that many people quiet for so long. Every single minute wasted going after Karen Reed is time that could be spent going after the actual people who killed.
Ms. McCabe, reporting a male party subsequently identified as the victim, Mr. John O'Keefe.
Someone's coming out to help.
Who was found in the snow at a residence on Fairview Road. John's dead. Terry, I wonder if he's dead. I hit him.
Karen Reed fucking ran John over.
Wow, how amazing is that? He just blows me away, MICRODOTS. Blows me away. He is phenomenal at creating those. And if you get onto his channel, he's got so many more. They're just amazing. Now there was also another interview I watched, and it was a friend of, it's only a 2-minute video. It's a friend of John O'Keefe's that did an interview as well. He breaks his silence, which I thought I would quickly show you because he is of similar opinions.
Throughout this 2-month trial, Karen Reed and her family, they regularly spoke with reporters outside the courthouse, but Officer John O'Keefe's friends and family, they have remained largely silent until now.
Badge number.
For the past 2 years, Brendan Kane has worn a baseball cap with John O'Keefe's badge number printed on the front and his initials on the back.
And how often do you wear it? Constantly.
Kane says he and O'Keefe met at the age of 4, and along with O'Keefe's younger brother Paul, all grew up together on the same street in Braintree. Kane says O'Keefe was in his wedding party and that at O'Keefe's funeral, he helped carry his casket.
The last time I saw him was about 3 weeks before he passed. We actually went to a Bruins game together, my wife and I, and he and Karen.
Kane says that was the one and only time he met Karen Reed, and that he never saw or heard about any trouble in the couple's relationship.
I feel like I was fooled.
By whom?
By Karen.
Kane says he started to have suspicions even before Reed was arrested. He says he never believed Reed's defense story that someone else killed his friend and that police covered it up.
There's no evidence. There's absolutely no evidence.
How can you say that? There is no evidence. How can you say that? These people are wearing rose-colored glasses. Or
To
they're
support
high.
the false narrative that they spread across the internet.
Kane sat with family members during several days of the trial and watched the rest of it on TV. He says police were faced with a challenging crime scene covered in snow, but could have handled the case better.
Michael Proctor could have written text messages that he didn't know would go public, that he regrets sending, and that does not nullify the evidence that says that Johnny was hit by a Lexus.
O'Keefe's friends and family are now
Where's the
preparing
evidence?
themselves for a second.
Where's the evidence? Show it to me and I'll believe you. Show me. Because I ain't seen it yet. In fact, I've seen the opposite. I don't
Trial,
understand.
including the possibility that it might be moved to another part of the state. Kane says he hopes that the next jury will see the story differently.
The real story is a simple one. It is a simple, uninteresting
Hello,
story.
good morning. Happy 4th of July.
And it doesn't get clicks. It doesn't get views. It doesn't get ratings.
Now, I'm sorry, but when Turtle Boy actually discovered the anomalies with the case, he had nothing to gain. Nothing whatsoever. Yes, he's popular and well known now because the truth has come out and the trial is over. And maybe, you know, that's been a perpetuating bit of encouragement for him to jump on the bandwagon for a bit of explosive stuff towards the end. But go back 12 months when he was unknown and he had nothing to gain from any of this. Nothing. He was an investigative journalist doing his job. Simple as that. Or doing the Norfolk County Police job because they didn't do any research. They didn't go around checking ring cameras. And there was hundreds of them along that route. Hundreds of them. If you go back and have a look at that video that MICRODOTS did, he actually notes all of them dotted along with the route that she traveled. So I don't understand how these people can watch the exact same information as millions and millions of other people and still flat out say there was no evidence, or there was evidence that that car struck John and caused those injuries, regardless of what the experts say on both sides.
The conspiracy, this false narrative of a cover-up, that's what gets attention.
Brendan Kane says one thing will definitely be different during a second trial of Karen Read. He says he and other friends and family of John O'Keefe will be speaking out a lot more often.
Good luck with that, because there ain't going to be another trial. You mark my words. No more trial for you. All right. I think that's probably covered. There's a few, quite a few. Oh, look at this lovely creator here. You should join her channel. She's amazing. But there's lots and lots of channels that have weighed in on this topic and Paul's interview, and I don't know whether to feel angry or sad for him or both. I'm very conflicted, but I still believe that the truth will come out. It will come out with the feds over the next fortnight to a month, and they will clean up the mess that the Norfolk County State Police have made, basically. So that brings us again to the end of another stream. Thank you very, very much for joining me again. It's been great to have you. It's been great to be here. And as I said, we're halfway. We're at the halfway mark to being monetized. So that's not too bad for being on air for six weeks. So yay us, yay us. So do like and subscribe. That would be amazing. Subscribing doesn't commit you to anything. It's not a monetary contribution whatsoever. It's basically like clicking your favorites on YouTube. So that then just puts you into the algorithm of the things that you like, basically, and YouTube will recommend things, similar things like true crime and other true crime content creators as well. And speaking of other true crime content creators, if you haven't already, go and check out AJ at Alternate Juror. There's the link right there. She is amazing. So go and check her out. What have I got? Independence. Yes, happy Independence Day. Enjoy your celebrations and your long weekend, and thank you for stopping by. You're welcome, and thanks again, Gabby. All right. With that, I missed one. Whoop. Bye, Bri. Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited. Very excited. I think we've done very well. Very well. And we have some exciting stuff coming up. So stay tuned. All right. With that, I'll try not to mess up. I'll try not to mess up tonight's good farewell. All right. So with that, I shall bid you adieu.
Attention, or are you actually in the North Cape Village Apartments now?
Well, I can tell you it's been a very, very dangerous and extremely fast pursuit. They've been chasing that van right there. Now,
That's exactly what he's doing. Are you Googling the laws right now?
Henderson Police Department's SWAT team responded to the scene and set up a perimeter around the condominium.
I travel in and out of time zone.
And the 3 key rules for a criminal defense lawyer: always on time, impeccably dressed, and occasionally sober.
The yellow sports car up ahead won't stop. Then something happens you might expect in a Spider-Man movie. It wraps around the tire of the fleeing vehicle and stops all forward motion.
Objection, action answered.
I mean, he leaps over the fucking bench.
No, the thing is that's my property. You have no choice.
Actually, I do, because I found friggin' Xanax bars on your driver's seat. If you want to explain something, explain those.
Cops get very frustrated when you don't answer their questions.
No.
Step back forward.
He's gonna go straight. There's a car right here. Got him.
All right, I'm going to excuse everyone. Mr. Brooks is being removed from the courtroom.
This is fucking hilarious. So he pulls out a joint in court.
Go, 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 go.
Turn on your stomach! Stop fighting us! Stop resisting!
The injury by the police, that may be a separate issue for you to file a civil suit.
Chris, just while he's doing that, talk to me. What were you running for again?
Warrant.
Warrants? A felony warrant? City warrants what?
Felony warrant on Kansas.
Well, I'm pretty sure they ran you, and you don't have any warrants.
I don't.
No.
No warrants.
No. So all that for nothing, right? No warrants, no nothing.
Yeah.
Police! A little farther, bro. A little more. Okay, go.
I'm not gonna sit here and let you fix the trial because you don't want to tell the truth to the jury.
We're there, guys. Got eyes on.
I want to suck it. Yes, I think I would like to suck your dick. I don't think so.
I prefer not to.
I prefer not to, sir. See that? I love that.
So do you wish to say anything?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.